Emily Parker has always been known for her dedication as an English teacher in the small town of Hartville. Her students adored her, and her colleagues respected her. But on that sunny April morning, as she explained the intricacies of Hamlet to her second-year class, a sudden fatigue overtook her. Her face went pale, her hands started to tremble, and before she could ask for help, everything went dark. Panic swept through the classroom. "Someone call the nurse!" shouted a student. Jack Thompson, a firefighter who was at the school for a safety lecture, rushed to Emily's classroom. He found her lying on the floor, unconscious. With the help of Sarah Mitchell, who was visiting the school to discuss a law project with the students, Jack quickly took her to the nearest hospital. At the hospital, tension hung thick in the air. Sarah held Emily's hand while Jack paced back and forth, his mind filled with grim thoughts. "She's going to be okay, right?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Jack looked at her, trying to hide the fear in his eyes. "She has to be okay. Emily is strong." After hours of agonizing wait, the doctor finally appeared. "Emily Parker?" he called out. Jack and Sarah rushed to him. "Yes, we're her friends. How is she?" Jack asked. The doctor sighed, a serious look on his face. "Emily is stable now, but we need to talk about her condition. Please, follow me." In the consultation room, the doctor explained the gravity of the situation. "Emily has a terminal illness that she kept secret. It's advanced, and we don't have much time." Jack felt like the ground had disappeared beneath his feet. "What? This can't be true. Emily never said anything. She seemed so healthy." "She wanted to protect you," the doctor said empathetically. "It's a common choice in cases like this." When Emily finally woke up, she found Jack and Sarah by her side. "What happened?" she asked, her voice weak. "You passed out, Em," Jack said gently. "The doctor told us about your condition. Why didn't you tell us?" Emily looked away, tears filling her eyes. "I didn't want you to suffer. I wanted you to see me as I was, not as a sick person." Sarah squeezed Emily's hand. "You don't have to go through this alone, Emily. We're here for you, always." Jack took a deep breath, trying to control his emotions. "I felt betrayed, Em, but I understand why you did it. We'll get through this together, like always." Emily smiled weakly, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. "Thank you. You're the best friends anyone could have." Determined to keep living passionately, Emily decided to dive headfirst into the school project of the play, The Light in the Darkness. To her, that play wasn't just a school activity, but a symbol of hope and resilience. With Jack and Sarah by her side, Emily was ready to face anything, never losing hope. With the news of her illness still fresh, Emily Parker threw herself into the school project of the play, The Light in the Darkness. She wanted to leave a legacy that would inspire her students and the community of Hartville. During rehearsals, Emily met Michael Reed, a newly arrived ex-soldier in town, still struggling to overcome the loss of his wife in a tragic car accident. Michael was introduced to the play team as a volunteer to help with production. His strong and reserved presence immediately caught Emily's attention. In their initial encounters, he seemed distant, but as rehearsals progressed, a subtle friendship began to form between them. One sunny afternoon, while adjusting props in the school auditorium, Emily noticed Michael struggling to fix a spotlight. "Need a hand there?" she asked, smiling. Michael looked at her, surprised, but smiled back. "Yeah, I think so. This spotlight seems to have a mind of its own." Emily climbed the ladder beside him, and together they managed to fix the spotlight. When they climbed down, they both laughed, and for the first time, Michael seemed relaxed. "You seem to know what you're doing," he said. "Not as much as you think," Emily replied, "but I enjoy a challenge." As the days passed, the bond between Emily and Michael deepened. He took her to see the ocean for the first time. They walked along the beach, the sea breeze bringing a sense of freedom they both needed. "It's beautiful," Emily said, looking out at the horizon. I've never been this close to the ocean before." Michael watched the wonder on her face. "I used to come here with my wife," he confessed, his voice choked with emotion. "She loved the sea." Emily lightly touched his hand. "I'm sorry, Michael. I know it must be hard." Michael squeezed her hand in response. "Emily, being with you has helped me more than you realize. You've brought me back to life." Tears glistened in Emily's eyes. "You've brought something special to me too, Michael. Something I thought I had lost." During rehearsals, the chemistry between them was palpable, and the students began to notice the change in atmosphere. Emily seemed more radiant, even with the shadow of her illness ever present. And Michael, who was once a closed-off and bitter man, began to open up again to love and hope. On a starry night, Michael invited Emily to dance in the open field behind the school. They laughed and moved awkwardly under the stars, music playing from a portable radio Michael had brought. For Emily, that moment was magical. "Thank you, Michael," she whispered, resting her head on his shoulder. "Thank you for making me feel alive again." Michael hugged her tighter. "I should be the one saying that, Emily. You're the reason I believe I can be happy again." As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Emily and Michael grew, bringing a ray of light into their dark lives. They knew time was precious, and every moment together was a gift they would cherish forever. The sunny summer days in Hartville brought a renewed energy to the town. Emily and Michael cherished every moment together, clinging to the joy they found in each other. However, the fragile balance between happiness and reality was about to be shaken. One Saturday, Michael decided to prepare a surprise picnic for Emily. He arrived early at her house to grab some utensils from the kitchen. While rummaging through the kitchen drawer, his eyes fell on a medical envelope that stood out. Not wanting to be intrusive, but curious, Michael opened the envelope and found Emily's test results. Shock and sadness overwhelmed him instantly. His mind raced with questions and a profound sense of betrayal and concern. When Emily returned home, she found Michael sitting at the kitchen table. The test results spread out before him. His face was pale, and his eyes filled with pain. "Michael, what are you doing?" she asked, feeling panic rise. "Why didn't you tell me?" Michael's voice was full of emotion. "Why did you hide this from me?" Emily felt her heart tighten. She knew this moment would come, but she still wasn't prepared. I didn't want you to see me as a sick person. I wanted you to see me as Emily, the woman you love." Michael stood up abruptly, running his hands through his hair in a gesture of frustration. "How could you think I wouldn't understand? That I wouldn't stand by your side?" Tears streamed down Emily's face. "I was afraid, Michael. Afraid you'd leave me. Afraid the burden would be too much for you. I wanted to protect you." The pain on Michael's face was evident. "Emily, you mean everything to me. I thought we could face anything together. I don't know what to do." Emily approached and held his hands. "Please, forgive me. I just wanted our moments together to be happy, without the shadow of illness." Michael pulled her into a tight hug, their tears mingling. "I promise, Emily. I promise I'll stand by your side. Let's make these moments the happiest together." With the secret revealed, the relationship between Emily and Michael took on a new depth. They knew time was short, and every moment was precious. They decided to immediately start Emily's bucket list, living each day as if it were their last. The first item on the list was to go hot air ballooning. At dawn on a Sunday, they met in an open field where a huge, colorful balloon was ready for liftoff. Michael helped Emily climb into the basket, and soon they were floating above the earth, the rising sun painting the sky with vibrant colors. "It's beautiful," murmured Emily, looking at the landscape below. "I've never felt so free." Michael hugged her from behind, his face close to hers. "This is just the first of many adventures we'll have together. I promise." Each new adventure brought laughter and tears, moments of pure joy and deep hidden sadness. Emily knew she was living on borrowed time, but with Michael by her side, she found the strength to keep fighting, determined to make the most of every day she had left. The play, The Light in the Darkness, progressed, and the chemistry between Emily and Michael became even more evident. The students, inspired by their passion, dedicated themselves fervently to rehearsals. Emily felt she was leaving a lasting mark, something that would live beyond her own life. As time passed, Michael's constant presence by Emily's side became a pillar of strength for her. They faced every challenge together, finding solace in the love they shared. The future was uncertain, but together they were determined to make it as bright as possible, living each day with intensity and love. The summer in Hartville brought a wave of anticipation and excitement as the premiere of the play, The Light in the Darkness, approached. For Emily, every rehearsal was a battle against her own frailty. Despite her determination, the illness progressed relentlessly. Her friends, Jack and Sarah, watched her with growing concern, but respected her desire to continue. On the day of the performance, Emily woke up feeling weaker than ever. Her movements were slow, and fatigue overwhelmed her. Michael, who had spent the night by her side, helped her get up and dressed. "You don't have to do this, Emily," he said gently. "No one will blame you if you don't perform." Emily looked at him with a determined gleam in her eyes. "I need to do this, Michael. This play is more than just a performance. It's my last chance to show everyone that hope and courage are stronger than any illness." In the school auditorium, the atmosphere was electric. The Hartville community turned out in force to support Emily and her students. The theater was packed, and the buzz of eager conversations echoed off the walls. Jack and Sarah were in the front row, their faces full of a mixture of pride and concern. As the lights dimmed and the curtains opened, Emily felt a wave of adrenaline rush through her body. She positioned herself backstage, watching her students bring to life the story she had inspired. Each scene was charged with emotion, and the performance of the young actors was nothing short of spectacular. The time for Emily to take the stage arrived. With Michael's help, she walked out onto the stage. The sight of her there, fragile but determined, drew gasps from the audience. She began her lines with a firm voice, but the effort to stay upright was evident. Midway through her performance, Emily felt a deep weakness. Her legs began to tremble and her vision blurred. Michael, sensing what was happening, rushed onto the stage and held her before she fell. The audience held their breath. "Emily, you don't have to continue," whispered Michael urgently. "I can do it," she replied, stubborn. "Please, just a little longer." With Michael by her side, Emily gathered all her strength to finish her lines. Her voice, though weak, was full of emotion and truth. The message of hope and resilience touched everyone present in a profound and unforgettable way. When Emily finished, the audience erupted into emotional applause, but as the curtains began to close, Emily collapsed into Michael's arms. Panic swept through the theater, and Jack and Sarah rushed to the stage. Michael held Emily carefully, tears streaming down his face. "Someone call an ambulance!" Jack shouted. Emily was rushed to the hospital with Michael, Jack, and Sarah by her side. On the way, Michael held Emily's hand, whispering words of comfort and love. In the hospital, doctors and nurses worked frantically to stabilize her. The Hartville community, now aware of the seriousness of her condition, anxiously awaited news. In the hospital corridor, Jack and Sarah tried to console each other while Michael remained by Emily's side, refusing to leave. The night of the performance, which began as a triumph, turned into a silent vigil fraught with emotion. Emily's future was uncertain, but the impact of her courage and determination had already left an indelible mark on everyone who knew her. In the hospital, the atmosphere was tense yet hopeful. The community of Hartville gathered in support of Emily, awaiting news of her condition. In the hallways, Jack and Sarah tried to stay strong, while Michael remained by Emily's side, holding her hand, refusing to leave her. Emily lay in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines monitoring her vital signs. Her eyes slowly opened, meeting Michael's worried gaze. "Hey," she whispered, her voice weak. "Hey," Michael replied, gently squeezing her hand. "You're in the hospital. You fainted after the performance." Emily smiled faintly. "We did it, didn't we? The play, was it a success?" Michael nodded, tears filling his eyes. "It was amazing, Emily. Everyone was so moved. You were incredible." Emily closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. "I'm so tired, Michael." "I know," he said, his voice choked with emotion, "but you don't have to fight alone. We're all here with you." Jack and Sarah entered the room, their faces marked by concern and sadness. "Emily, you were wonderful," Sarah said, holding Emily's other hand. Jack, struggling to maintain composure, added, "You touched everyone's hearts, Em. I've never seen anything like it." Emily smiled, tears streaming down her face. "You guys are the best friends anyone could have. Thank you for being by my side." The doctor entered the room, wearing a solemn expression. "Emily, we know you're tired. We'll do our best to keep you comfortable." Emily nodded, accepting the reality. "Thank you, doctor. I just want to be with my friends and Michael." The hours passed slowly, each moment laden with emotion and silent farewells. The community of Hartville, gathered at the hospital, kept vigil, praying and sharing stories about Emily's impact on their lives. Emily looked at Michael, her gaze full of love and gratitude. "Michael, you brought so much joy to my last days. I'll never forget that." Michael, tears freely falling, replied, "I'm the lucky one, Emily. You taught me how to live again. I love you." "I love you too," Emily whispered, closing her eyes. Her breath became slower and shallower until finally, with one last breath, she was gone. The room fell silent, broken only by the sobs of her friends. Michael held Emily in his arms, feeling the profound loss, but also the gratitude for having known her. In the days that followed, Hartville came together to honor Emily's memory. The play, The Light in the Darkness, became an annual event, a tribute to Emily's indomitable spirit and the lesson of hope and courage she left for everyone. Michael, Jack, and Sarah found solace in the memory of their friend. They knew that despite the loss, Emily would live on forever in their hearts and in the lives she touched. And so, the story of Emily Parker, a young teacher who faced the darkness with courage and love, continued to inspire everyone in Hartville, reminding them to live each day with passion and gratitude. I hope you were moved by Emily Parker's story as much as I was. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, leave your comments sharing what you thought, or proposing new stories. And of course, subscribe to the Moving Stories Hour channel to not miss any of our upcoming inspiring stories. Until next time,